Okay, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, I came up here on this hill and give us a good look around to talk about the pyramids and what we call the secret of the pyramids. What was the secret of the pyramids? Well, and how did they build them? Well, the first secret, let's say the pyramids was a period where man, Cro-Magnon man, was just becoming urbanite. He was becoming an urbanite. He had started in Iraq, and those urbanite centers had spread all the way to Egypt, and Egypt was, becoming a great empire. And the pyramids were a capstone of their empire building and what they were capable of doing. And the secret of the empire, here's my cat. There's a jet overhead. Well, I live under the jet path there for the Randolph Air Force Base. But anyway, the secret of the pyramids, quite frankly, is the wheel. It was a time when the wheel was invented and used very specifically to build them. And the pharaohs and the people who built those pyramids didn't want us to know that. Why they didn't want us to know? Well, let's just go with this, is that they didn't want us to know. They were so good at hiding the secret from us that you find no evidence of it. The Egyptians may have not used the wheel culturally, but they used it for the pyramids. And quite frankly, the only way they could have built the pyramids was with the wheel. And it wasn't a true wheel as we know it today, a wheel with an axle, like on a wheelbarrow or on bicycles, because the very stones they cut, that 5 by 8 by 12 foot stones weighing around 2,000 tons, was the actual hub of the wheel. And what they did, because they were such good, they were so good in wood and in cutting metal, and in cutting stone, that they actually built a wheel around the stone. And they did it in about 3 different ways, and some of them were pretty unique. And once they built this wheel, they could roll those stones around the quarry site, put them in the river, of course, tie them up with reeds, float them down the river, and sometimes the reeds fell off and those stones fell down in certain rapid areas that later became known as the catacombs. But those stones that didn't, of course, made it all the way down the Nile to where the pyramids were being built. They were unwrapped, wheels were round wooded portions were put around those stones, and then those stones were literally rolled to location and then rolled up one flight at a time on ramps that are a perfect example of the angle of the pyramids. And that's why the pyramids take their shape. But anyway, we'll get into the ramps and how those ramps were built. We'll get into the way the wheels were built. But just figure this, is that if they took 20 years to build the pyramids, they placed about 28 stones a day, which is well within the capacity of the wheel. And when we study this, we will see right away that without the wheels, the pyramids could not have been built. So we know man built them. We're going to cross out the idea that terrestrials came down or that they had block and tackles and metal fixtures. So what they did have was the wheel. And they built that pyramid with it. And it's very unique when you get into it and you see what they could have done with it. What is the mystery is why they thought they would keep it quiet, why they thought that would be a secret kept onto the structure itself, and why we today, with our ability to consider how things work, why we would think it was magic or mystical the way they built them. That's a statement of the human mind. And we'll get into that, because really this part of anthropology is not necessarily about drunken women and monkey sex or about wheels. It's about the human mind. And that's what we want to explore. And our next segment, I'm going to talk about how those wheels were built. Okay? Thank you.